Hi guys, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday. It's Tuesday, January 28th, 2014, and this is Jennifer. We have had the best resurgence of Talk to Me Tuesday that I have seen since we first started. I think we had somewhere around a dozen videos last week. I haven't actually counted them yet, but I am going to do a drawing next Tuesday to give away my January prize. And I have an idea for Talk to Me Tuesday for future prizes that is sort of a prize and a swap. And I will put a description of that under this video on the Talk to Me Tuesday Live Journal. This idea will only be open to Talk to Me Tuesday Live Journal members, so you need to be a member by the end of February in order to participate. I think we'll start in March. But what I thought would be fun would be to do something like a Talk to Me Tuesday round robin prize. So say we pick 2 months, say March and April, and every week, if you participate in Talk to Me Tuesday, someone will give away a prize. So for example, the first week of March, I'll give away a prize, and then the person that wins that prize, the next week they give away a prize, and then the person that wins their prize gives away a prize the next week. I'm still kind of working out the details, but I think it would be fun. If you're interested in this, definitely leave a comment under this video on the Talk to Me Tuesday Live Journal community. Again, link in the description. So it is a big week around here. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, so I'm going to start right now. First of all, As You Wish posts a brand new pattern set tomorrow. It will be the second installment, and there will be 2 patterns. I want to show you guys my first set of blocks for As You Wish. Again, these were designed by Elizabeth from Such a So and So, which I have the most trouble saying, and I don't know why. The quilt design is by me, but these 2 patterns were designed by Elizabeth. And this is my Buttercup here. She is, for those of you watching that are participating, this is the most complicated pattern you will have to do. So once you get this one done, it's all downhill from there. You will be not only accomplished, but if you can make this block, you will not have any trouble with any of the rest of the paper piece blocks in As You Wish. My recommendation for you, if you are a beginner, is to treat every single piece like its own pattern and take your time. There are a lot of great videos out there. Check on Fandom and Stitches under quilting help, and we have a whole list of paper piecing resources, tutorials, videos, etc. So make sure you check that out. Again, this is Buttercup designed by Elizabeth, and this is the Buttercup quote that I showed you guys last week. I'm doing the 4-patch layout quilt. So this is what this unit will look like, and then the rest of the sets will also be in 4 patches, plus there's some other sashing and stuff that will go in the quilt, plus some embroidery that will go in the quilt. The much awaited February block for Paper Piecing Vintage will post on Saturday. Most likely because I will be up on Friday night. I will probably post it Friday night, but for sure you'll be able to access it on Saturday. And this is what the block looks like. It's called Come Fly Away, and you will have more details, and your pattern will be in your Paper Piecing Vintage download on Craftsy. So if you've already purchased the block of the month, you just go back to Craftsy and download the pattern again. And the way this is going to work is the pattern itself will actually be updated. So it's the same file, it just gets longer every month. So you can delete January, you can delete your preview pattern. Just keep the most current one, and it will actually have all of the other patterns in it. It just gets longer every month. If you're looking for this pattern, go to craftsy.com/sewhook, and it's the very first pattern at the top of the shop. I'm very happy to share that I finished my first UFO for 2014. I showed you guys my epic pile of UFOs last week. I have, my list is 17 long, which I put on this wonderful piece of paper. I have a roll of paper that I use for whenever we have people over or my kids have friends over or whatever. I put a long sheet of paper on the table and I throw markers on the table and then everybody draws on it. Well, this time I used a big piece for me, and this down to right here, that is my to-do list for UFOs only. So as you can see, I've marked off number 11, and that is this little flannel quilt that I'm showing you the back of. This little flannel quilt here. These were the flannel blocks that I found that I'm not sure when I cut them out. Some of them are pieced like this, some of them are solid. And originally I was going to add borders and free motion quilt this, but I did not have enough flannel. I haven't used flannel since my kids were small. These all came from pajamas that they had when they were little. And so what I ended up doing was I used strips of batting, I pieced the blocks across, and then I did a quilt as you go. So I basically quilted in strips. And I will put a link to the 6-hour quilt technique, which is how I learned to do this. This is just an adapted version of that. There's a really long tutorial, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes long on YouTube, where you can learn how to make an entire quilt that's a quilt as you go quilt. It's very easy, and you just have to take your time with it. They show you doing it on a serger, I believe, but if you don't have a serger, you can actually use your regular sewing machine. I did my first few of these that I did many years ago on my regular sewing machine. So since I didn't have enough flannel, I didn't add a border. I did quilt as you go, and I did a rag edge like you would do on a raggy quilt. And this was what I used on the back. I used the same fabric all the way throughout, and I had about that much flannel left. So it's a good thing that I didn't try to add borders, because I wouldn't have had enough to finish. And this is actually big enough for a preemie for the Linus Connection. So this will be donated in our February donations. So it's probably hard to tell right now, but I've actually been quite under the weather. I've been fighting off some sort of bug for the last week. It just won't leave me alone. My allergies are also acting up. So it's just been a bit of a rough week the last week. Yesterday I just stayed home sick. I normally do errands and all other kind of crazy stuff on Monday. I just wrote everything off. I stayed home, and it's warmer in the upstairs of my house than the downstairs, obviously, because heat rises. So I stayed in my sewing room all day, and I did things just for me. I didn't work on anything for anybody's website. I didn't work on anything for charity. I just worked on stuff for me, and I took it easy. I went slow, and I got a couple of projects done that I've really been wanting to do for a while, but I've been putting off. So first of all, the reason I'm holding my ironing board is I recovered it yesterday. This had a blue thermal, I guess thermal, I don't even know, a blue, one of those blue pads that's supposed to help make it hotter when you iron, and I had actually worn holes through it from where I had pressed so many quilts and so many other things, and it was just speckled with all these little holes. So I used a piece of canvas that I had on hand, and I actually had almost exactly the right amount of canvas. I threw away 2 tiny pieces, and that's all I had left over. So basically what I did was I took the pad off of this, and I used it as my pattern, and I cut 4 inches bigger all the way around. I made a casing, and then I put a piece of elastic all the way through, and on the opposite end of this, it's just tied. I just pulled it and pulled it until it was tight enough, and I just tied it. So I put 3 layers of batting in this to make it nice and a good surface to iron on, and I really like it. It's the perfect amount of density for ironing, and so far so good. I really, really like the way the canvas is ironing. The other thing I did for myself yesterday was to create a bag for myself. So I have this old bag that I have used for probably 2 or 3 years now. I showed it many moons ago here on Talk to Me Tuesday. This was something I picked up on clearance sale. It had a magnetic snap here, and it had 1 pocket, and I had added another pocket, and I always add little loops on the side for my keys. So, because I put my keys on a carabiner. So anyway, I love this purse, and I've been looking for another bag like this for probably 6 months, and I couldn't find anything even remotely similar. So I gave up, and yesterday I replicated that bag out of fabric I already had on hand. So this bag is the same dimensions, the same style. I used the measurements from the bag I just showed you. It's got the zippered pocket. I actually repurposed the magnetic snap from the green bag for this. I even took the pockets that I made for the other bag out of that bag and put them in this bag. I've got my little loops for my keys, which you can see there. This is my reusable shopping bag, and these are my keys for my car and my house. And then I have my pockets that I took out of my other bag. And this is corduroy that I had on hand. I used every last piece of it. I actually ran out and ended up doing my straps in 2 different fabrics so that I would have enough to get my straps made. It has pockets on the end for sunglasses and whatever. Sometimes I put a water bottle in this end. If it's summer in Texas, I'll carry a water bottle in my purse. Same exact shape. Everything's in the same place. I'm completely in love with it. It's much cuter than the other bag, I think. It's sturdy, it's durable. This is a really heavy duty corduroy. So this fabric has lining on it because this is just cotton fabric. And what I did was I used a fusible interfacing and I fused this fantastically ugly 1980s fabric to it. So the only place you can actually see it is when you look inside that pocket, but you're not going to see that. Nobody's going to see that but me. And there's corduroy under here, and that's just to make this fabric really sturdy. So what I did was I actually serged the edges. So these are serged. I serged the individual pieces, then I sewed the pieces together, and then I serged over that so these seams are not coming apart. This isn't lined, but this is a very heavy duty corduroy. I've already had people ask if I'm going to sell it, if I'm going to make a pattern for it, etc. I'm not gonna. This is just for me. It's something I bought that was store-bought that I replicated, and this is probably a one-time thing. The last little detail is I had this little stone button that I couldn't really use for anything else. It's not actually usable as a button, so I sewed it on here as just a little decorative accent. It kind of picks up on this olive color that's here and in some of the leaves. And so that's it. I've been super productive the last week. I've done lots of updates online. I've done lots of sewing. I've actually got another piece of the As You Wish quilt finished that I can't show you till next week, and that is going to be it. You guys check Fandom & Stitches tomorrow for the next installment of As You Wish. Check Sew Hooked on Saturday for the next installment of Paper Piecing Vintage. Make sure you check on Sew Hooked to see if you were the winner of the January Paper Piecing Vintage prize. I will be announcing the winner of the Talk to Me Tuesday prize next Tuesday, and that is for the thread catcher with the pincushion attached. And there will be another prize in February for Talk to Me Tuesday as well as another prize in February for Paper Piecing Vintage. Lots of prizes around here. We're just going to give away all the things. You guys have a crafty week. Make sure you're posting videos. Make sure you're sharing pictures on Flickr, and I will see you guys next week. Bonus content. I totally forgot to show you guys the awesome pot holders that Amber, also known as HP5 Freak, sent me. Aren't these fabulous?